Welcome back to part 2 of What If Padme Was a Jedi. Thank you to those of you who watched the first part of this video. To recap what happened in that episode in case you haven't seen it, Qui-Gon had discovered that Padme had been force sensitive on their retreat to Tatooine, but after the Council had postponed their decision to allow for her training, they followed their queen to Naboo. The Galactic Republic had fallen into the trap of Darth Sidious, and Maul had left with both Padme and Anakin, so the Jedi have to retrieve them before they were exposed to the dark side. Having heard the transmission from Chancellor Palpatine, the Jedi immediately turned from the palace grounds to the Naboo plains, searching the fallen battle droids for any clues as to the location of Maul, as Obi-Wan ran to the Gungan army, who are completing their victory. Captain Tarpals had personally taken care of deleting OM9 battle droid and summoning R2-D2. The astromech examined his programming, then removed the back plating, establishing previous communications between the command droid and the central control computer on the Trade Federation ship. The Neimoidians had discussed the capabilities of the battle droids of Maul, and whilst the Zabrak was skeptical, he agreed that it would be a sufficient distraction whilst he took the Jedi prospects back to his home planet. The Jedi know that a transmission could have been tampered with in a bid to deceive the Jedi, and they rush back into the palace throne area. The leaders of the Trade Federation are comfortably seated in a circular formation, unmoved by the Jedi igniting their lightsabers, until Qui-Gon began to intrude into the mind of Gunray. The Jedi could not extract the exact details required, but managed to find that Maul had been telling the truth, and leapt into respective M1 starfighters out of the planet. With Qui-Gon leading the way, the Trade Federation abandoned their pursuit of the Jedi on the orders of Sidious, as the Sith Lord had ordered his apprentice to imbue the Force sensitives with the dark side. Arriving back on his home in his scimitar, the apprentice dragged the unconscious bodies of both Padme and Anakin through the red mist, where Mother Talzin and the Night Sisters welcomed the brother back to his planet. The clan lifted Padme and Anakin whilst chanting the words to an ancient ritual, until they are interrupted by the ships of Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. The Jedi Padawan ignited his blade and surged towards the Night Sisters, before being met by the blade of Maul, and the entire clan started to fire their energy bows at the Jedi. Qui-Gon used the distraction that his Padawan had caused to find a blind spot in the clan, and then force-pulled the two bodies towards him, before the two Jedi leapt back into their ships. Watching them disappear from his planet, Maul roared in fury, but Talzin remained calm and told the Zabrak that everything was going to plan, before ordering him to return to Sidious. The Jedi that Maul had lost had travelled to Naboo to partake in the celebrations led by the Gungans, but quickly afterwards, Padme had been brought back to Coruscant and the Jedi Temple, and Obi-Wan is given the status of a Jedi Knight, which gave him the opportunity to train Padme. The Sith Lord Darth Sidious was displeased at Maul's failure to kill the dangerous Qui-Gon, and switching on his holo projector to summon his apprentice. He regarded this to be his last failure, before choking the Zabrak from his office. Maul began to lose control of his ship, spiralling back down towards his home planet, and crashing amongst his brothers. The Chancellor did not tolerate failure, and asking for masterminded to prepare his ship, he calmly walked into his executive shuttle and set course for the planet of Sereno. Calmly landing by the pillars outside of the largest palace, his new apprentice Dooku bowed to him, having been disapproving of many of the Jedi Council's decisions, and sought more power. Beginning his training in the dark side of the Force, Padme and Anakin were making their own progress in the Jedi Temple, and in spite of the best efforts of the Council to separate them, they had become dangerously attached during Padme's latter stages of her reign as Queen of Naboo. After resigning from her role to become Naboo's representative in the Senate, Yoda knew the dangers of Padme and Anakin turning to the dark side, and invited Qui-Gon's Padawan to his quarters. Anakin remained closed to Yoda, but the Jedi Grand Master could sense the darkness rising in the Jedi, and decided he would have to face his worst fears for him to become a Jedi Knight. Travelling to the planet of Dathomir for the first time since his abduction by Maul, the Jedi Knight ignited his blade in caution, wondering what the Jedi had sent him here for, when he felt a chill run through his spine. Through the muddy swamps, the rebuilt figure of Maul appeared in front of him, and ignited his lightsaber, asking Anakin to walk towards him, and become his apprentice to fulfill his potential. The Jedi leapt over the swamp and clashed blades with Maul, fueled by the hatred from his initial abduction from Naboo, and managing to disarm him, he placed his blade at his throat. Maul begs Anakin to end his suffering, but the Jedi pushed him back into the mist, and Qui-Gon emerged from a cave to applaud the Jedi, until they heard the voice that they thought they would never hear again. That is it for part 2 of What If Padme Was a Jedi. If you'd like to see a part 3 soon, please like this video, turn on that notification bell, click that subscribe button on this channel, as well as on my other channel What If Films. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd all like to see next, and how I can improve my videos. Thank you all very much for watching, and see you next time.